Okay, we are going to get started again with our public input. Our speaker up right now is Hassan Shibly, followed by Dr. Wilfred Bisson, followed by Amira Shaw.
Respected school board members and members of the public, my name is Hassan Shibly from 8056 North 56th Street, Temple Terrace, Florida. I went to public school all my life. I'm an attorney and executive director of the largest Muslim civil rights and advocacy organization here in Florida. It breaks my heart to think, what kind of community will my children grow in where people will protest and rally with hateful slogans and signs demonizing my entire faith and community when they know nothing about it? Yet it gives me great hope to see the school board, the local Democrats, moderate Republicans, and especially the students themselves stand up against this intolerance and censorship. So thank you so much. You make me proud to be an American and proud to raise my children in this community. Actually, even engaging in dialogue with some of the protesters has given me hope that by learning about each other, we can stop fearing each other. That is the true face of America that the world must see, that people of all faiths, cultures, and political leanings united for diversity, freedom, and tolerance. That's what America represents. So thank you for standing up and making the voices of reason, tolerance, and rationality heard. Because the protesters that have made anti-Muslim statements are shameful, un-American, and an embarrassment to the state of Florida and our country as a whole, and we cannot let that be a representation of America to the world. Those protesters are reflecting a national trend of hate groups that are promoting fear and hatred of their Muslim neighbors and opposing any neutral representation of Islam in public. In order for our youth to have a wholesome and complete education, we believe that it is essential for them to learn about the many diverse faiths, cultures, and civilizations that have contributed to the fabric of our society. The protesters themselves are a result of ignorance, and they themselves would benefit greatly from reading the chapter that they are protesting. Ignorance is our common enemy. It leads to misunderstanding, which leads to fear, which leads to hatred, which leads to discrimination and even violence. We've had many cases of people perceived to be Muslim who aren't even Muslim who've been violently attacked in this community. So while a few of the protesters may be sincere, they are very much misinformed. We agree that all faiths should be taught reasonably equally. However, the concerns of the protesters are unfounded. Much of the high school history curriculum covers Christian and European history and only a small portion on the rich Islamic civilization. The reality is that these protests have been used to galvanize anti-Muslim rhetoric and promote fear and hate of an entire religious community. Many protesters outside here ask me why Muslims want to kill everyone and destroy America. That's very offensive to me. They blame my entire faith for the criminal acts of a few while ignoring the crimes done in the name of their own faith. If we judge any faith by its worst adherents, we could sit and bash religions all day, but that's not what our country needs today. The statements from some of the protesters have made it clear that for most of the protesters, this is about fear and hate of Muslims, not about equality. And I have heard these statements myself. I have heard and taken personal offense from some of these very protesters outside when they're saying and holding signs, many of whom have said that Islam is evil, that it doesn't belong in this Christian country, and that we want to kill everyone and destroy America. These statements were said by people in the audience outside. You heard it yourself, in fact, earlier, that some of them made clear that their problem is it doesn't show Islam in a bad enough light. Their problem is that a true factual academic understanding of Islam doesn't fit the extremist stereotypes they believe. These protests are a testament as to why we must continue to educate our children about the diverse faiths and cultures that make up our society. By learning about each other, we can come to respect each other. People of all faiths must stand together to build a stronger society that respects freedom of religion and diversity. We don't need to promote fear and hate of each other. It's our belief that when we learn about each other, we can stop feeling hate to each other. Education is the key to a diverse and free, healthy society, and these protests are a clear example of why we need more education, why we need to learn more about each other, not less than each other. We can't afford to allow fear and ignorance to divide us, and we must recognize that we have much in common and must stand united as Americans, and education is the key to overcoming many of the challenges we face. I therefore ask the school board to stand strong with the students who are rejecting this intolerance, and I extend my hand to the protesters to come and learn about each other. We may find we have much more in common than we think. God bless America. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shibly. Ooh, how did he speak so quick?